it's hard to describe, and this is the way that I look at it. It's hard to describe that something that is not naturally in space and time, which I think is something that people don't realize. That God is not they always depict him as like this bushy white bearded guy on a cloud looking down on us, as if that's actually what he is composed of. And it's never meant to be a literal depiction of him. And so my understanding of God is that the person who created space and time cannot necessarily be a part of it. I think just logically speaking, right? If I were to create a world, let's call it The Sims, right? The Sims. Let's make The Sims game, right? If The Sims were real people, right, then all I could do as God would be to create an avatar and control an avatar and talk through that avatar on the board or on in the video game, right? But I can't actually translate my entire being into the video game The Sims, right?
Yep.
Not only that, but if somebody were to ask, well, what are you like? All I can kind of point to is the stuff in the video game, because the Sims and the world of the Sims and stuff is like, well, that stuff that's in that video game is an approximation of what is actual, but it's still just pixels. It's still just it's right. So like trying to describe to a binary, computer program what actual life is like is virtually impossible, right? Like to actually experience it. And in the same way, when God interacts with people in this story, what I think is really important to recognize is that they're always describing things in a metaphorical or in a way that can't necessarily be described physically, because it's happening on a whole different dimension, a whole different level. And so yeah, I think that's, I don't know, like, so I think it's the tendency of human beings to want to capture something into like a box and examine it and break it down to its little parts. But there's something necessarily mysterious. There's something necessarily supernatural whenever you start talking about the transcendent, what you call him, God or the creator or whomever, right? Anyway, so I think that's just an interesting or kind of an important point to emphasize, because I had trouble with this stuff. I used to be much more about like a literalist, right? It's like, well, if you said it's actually a dove, or that, I used to even think like, you guys really believe in in a bushy white bearded guy on a cloud watching you guys are idiots, kind of thing. I was that guy. And it's like, well, we don't actually believe that. At least the people who are reasonable don't really believe that, kind of thing. It's a way in which we express the ineffable, the mysterious aspects of a non-physical, non-temporal being. It's like, how else do you do it? So.